Hey, good afternoon. Friday. And as always, we have comedian extraordinaire Sandy Hackett. Sandy,
Vince, you're very kind every week. You comedian extraordinaire. I appreciate it. It's been a sad week looking at all this stuff going on. But how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Sad week. Let's get into it. So, since we last talked about the last shooting, um, there were now 20 mass shootings, a total of 214 shootings, mass shootings altogether, just this year. And we're in June. It looks like we're on pace to have what enough to support two to three mass shootings a day.
You
So,
know, I listen to the arguments, as I know you do. I listen to the governor of Texas talk. I listen to Ted Cruz talk. I listen to them say that this is a mental health issue. And at first, I want to, argue with them. And as I've listened to them, they haven't swayed my position, but I believe they're right. But the one who has mental health issues are the governor of Texas and Ted Cruz. They don't want to equate to common sense. I haven't heard anybody in any conversation, any congressman, any district attorney, any cop say we want to take weapons away from gun holders. I haven't heard anybody infringe upon the Second Amendment, which, by the way, there were no AK-15s. There were no able to fire, hundreds of rounds
assault.
a minute. When I listened to them talk, when I listened to Ted Cruz, who got cornered by the news and then walked away from them because he didn't want to answer the questions, I go, you're mentally ill. You don't even understand what's at stake here until it comes into your home, or until you go have bullets whizzing by your ear, or get hit by some person who thinks that you're the one of the problems. Because in Oklahoma, what did that guy do? That guy had a back operation and still had pain, and decided to declare his own malpractice insurance and take that doctor's life. And unfortunately, look, it's tragic because back. I don't know if you've ever had back issues, but back issues are very tricky things. We've come a long way with medicine, but we're not Star Trek yet, where they wave the thing over you and cure you. There's a lot of stuff to figure out yet. As we get, medically, we've made huge advancements, but we don't know. And that guy just decided, I can't take the pain. You're the guy who gave it to me. I'm taking you out.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Generally when people have pain, they just, get an aspirin. This guy, he gets an assault weapon.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So,
huge.
so the Congress, all kinds of speeches made. Everybody saying the same thing. Of course, on the Democratic side, and of course on the Republican side, they twist it and turn it into, they say it doesn't make a difference. Well, Biden gave a nice speech talking about uh, when there were no when we outlawed AR automatic weapons. Amazingly, shootings went down. And how do you stand in Congress? How are you an elected representative of the people and say that equates to taking someone's gun away? You say, well, why do you need someone? Please tell me. And I had no idea. I heard this stat. I don't know if you heard this one. 11 million AR-15 owners in the United States. 11 million AR-15s out there. Really?
AR-15s is a modification or upgrade of the M16A1 rifle. It shoots the same way. It has a 1.8 millimeter bullet, and it fires to a maximum effective range of 360 meters. However, it's also lighter, and it has butt stop capabilities, which would make it go from semi-automatic to automatic. The difference between semi-automatic is that you have to release the trigger and you can release it faster to get faster repetitions. Automatic means you just hold the trigger and it basically fires consistently. Problem, why do we have so many AR-15 owners? Relatively simple. They're waiting for the war. And they keep lying and bastardizing the Constitution, saying that they have a Second Amendment right. And it's not true. According to the Second Amendment of the Constitution, you have a right to bear arms with a regulated militia. We don't have regulated militias. We have militias, but none of them are regulated. I mean, we got the Oath Keepers. We've got the Proud Boys. We've got the Klan. We've got militias, but none of them are regulated. Yet everyone wants to arm themselves for this war that ain't ever happening.
Well, and that's
we live in a
question. Wait, is it never happening, or are we headed for civil war? Why are there 11 million gun owners out there? What you're saying that have weaponized themselves in the event, waiting for a war that hasn't happened yet. But is it going to happen?
Of course. They've been saying that this war was going to happen since the Civil War ended. And here's the thing. For Black America, the Civil War has ended. For white America, it ain't over yet.
Absolutely. But you're pissing off. Both sides are pissing off the other side. The abortion issue, the taking away, and the abortion issue has many facets to it, because first it's, it sounds like it's a religious thing, then it's a political thing, but it's really a control thing. So, you're impacting the women, you're impacting people. I mean, it gets to be where you go, when is someone going to rebel to the point of they go, okay, now I'm taking out the AR-15 and go shoot people that I disagree with? Because this guy in the school in Uvalde, he went and shot kids. He didn't even disagree with them. He was just mad and wanted to shoot whatever and didn't even have the courage to go to the cop station, who, while they were getting shot, those cops in Uvalde would have just sat there and said, don't do anything.
Wait until he runs out of ammunition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's nice to have. See, first, you don't want to touch on so much. First, let's go back to the abortion issue. Okay, that they're weighing on and pissing off. Okay, so the Republicans are now pissing off women with basically legislation of their bodies to tell them and control them and having children, when none of those men who are actually voting, who say that they are pro-life, have ever given natural childbirth. Okay, so listen, if anything 5 to 8 pounds came out of any part of my body, childbirth, abortion will remain legal. Okay. Second, let's look at, you diving into the cop situation. Police are so empowered because they have a badge and a gun. They're so empowered when they pull over a black kid in the middle of the night and shoot him because he's unarmed. They are so tough when they're dealing with people which they are overly matched against. Yet, one child with an AR-15 and a whole lot of rounds of ammunition turned 7 police officers into a bunch of punks because none of them wanted to go into that room.
Look, it's tragedy on top of tragedy. Because, and I didn't know this, but from listening to all this stuff all week, the goal of someone in law enforcement dealing with an active shooter is to take the fire away from the targets and turn it upon themselves.
Correct. And the whole thing is that when you're going to a police officer, you go in with the model of protect and serve. You're going in with the model of you are the bravest and the finest. So you go in with the fact that you will run into the face of fire. Even when I was an MP, they told us that yes, we'll be put into situations where we have to make a split-second decision to risk our lives to save the lives of one other person or many other people. And in their manual, their training manual, they specifically said, if you have reservations about running into live fire, then you need to choose another career.
But
Police officers.
yeah, I understand it, and certainly that's in the manual, and you were there and you studied that and you are aware of that. And when you, it's like, look, it's like all these Congress people that have taken the oath of office to protect the Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic, and yet did they? No, they didn't. And
No.
all they had to do was vote for impeachment against Trump. Not once. They had two opportunities at it and didn't. So these cops that were in Uvalde that were, I don't know, did they take that oath? Were they undertrained? Is it such a small town that it's just like a movie with a little local sheriff that never got any formal training?
It is.
That oath, or were they? And look, I understand if a guy said, "Look, I got a six gun in my, I got a six shooter in my hand. I got a 357 Magnum with 6 bullets, one at a time, and some guy's firing off, 30 rounds a second. I'm afraid to go in there." At least I would understand that. I would understand fear. Yeah, I said I would do that, but I didn't realize I was totally underarmed.
Well, I see. The thing is that what gets me is the duplicity of the actual police officers. I mean, they're completely tough and impervious to pain when they're inflicting it upon someone else. But when they were faced with a situation, faced with a situation where someone can inflict it upon them, oh no, we're going to wait to get some tactical gear. That's what they were saying. But here's another thing, Sandy. What gets me? They're talking about now that school shootings will go down when they have armed officers in the schools. And I said, so what happened in that school? What was it? It wasn't Marcus Hook. It was after
Sandy Hook.
It was after Sandy Hook, where the kids went to Congress and they said, I call BS. So everyone reported and fired the officer who was armed to protect the kids. When this guy came in shooting, he was the first one running out of the school. So you can't tell me that is the solution to it. The solution to it is simple. We didn't have so many AR-15 assaults and mass shootings until Trump got elected and then took the executive order of banning AR-15s off the table.
Wait, wasn't it somebody else that took it off? Wasn't it banned? Well, AR-15s were banned for a while. Wasn't it Clinton who banned them? And then George Bush didn't continue it.
Right.
Well, and
so then Obama put in an executive order, and Trump put in an executive order to erase it.
Well, they're also talking about hardening the school, which is such a weird word. What we're going to now wall in the school, have one door in and out. That's where the security guard's going to be. So what do you do in the event of a fire or any other kind of emergency? How does anybody get in or out with one door? And then they want to arm teachers. I'm a parent. I don't want to send my kid to school with armed teachers.
Yeah, because teachers can have a bad day too. And they've got a lot of, they can have a bad day and just get tired of your child. That's it? How many times are you going to misspell cat?
Yeah.
So not what I'm looking for. Look, here is the solution. This is the only solution that I can see. We need to start shooting these Republicans out of office. How do we do that? Every time we get up to these primaries, we get up to this midterm, and we start voting Democrat. Each Democratic vote is a bullet in their behinds. Each one is busting a cap in their tails. Because look at what's going on. We can't get anything passed. Everything is stuck. And then if we do get the numbers, then somebody comes up with a filibuster. I am sick and tired of having people who are supposed to make the decisions. This great think tank of intellectual prowess that's supposed to be making the right decisions. Yet there is always somebody standing in the way of doing what's fundamentally right for the people. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Vote them all out. Vote them all out. Then we can get things like Build Better passed. We can get things like, affordable health care passed and through. We can go back to getting some vouchers for some parents who need help with child care. We can go back to getting things like, here's a big thing. The Build Back Better plan, part 2, that they were supposed to do was going to give some extra money to continue funding the SBA or the small businesses who were affected during COVID. Now, since they didn't pass that money dried up, which means small businesses, black and white, are suffering without any recourse. But large businesses like United Air told the president, we need $150 million or we're going to shut down. And they gave it to them. It's time that we start voting in people who are going to work for the people and uphold their oath of the Constitution. Instead of upholding the paycheck of the gun lobbyists.
I absolutely agree with you. My question is, how do we get the people on the other side to agree with that? How do we get them to understand the people you are voting for and that you are allowing to represent you are blocking every bit of legislation that will not only help us, but will help you too? How do we communicate to those people you are voting against your own rights to a better life?
Okay, I'm going to address that. I'm Inspire. This is Freestyle Friday, and I'm with Sandy Hackett. We'll see you all. 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Your small business struggled through the pandemic to stay afloat. You need more exposure. Radio and printed ads are good for pet liners. Television commercials are overpriced. Social media ads start cheap, end up expenses. You need an ad team that can get you multimedia exposure. You need MyTV. MyTV will develop a commercial tailored to your business. To get your maximum sales, contact sales@ratemytv.church.
Life has many twists and turns, and it can take you off track. Disakajo's Flow is here to help you dance through the twists and lean into the turns. From spiritual trauma-informed life coaching, to book publishing, to record producing, to credit empowerment, to amazing travel, we are here to change your whole life. Let us help you get your life back on track.
Okay, welcome back. Now, we were talking about gun control, and with the recent mass shootings that we've been having, how come it's so difficult? And Sandy, you pose a really good question. How do we get people to realize that they're voting against their own interests? Well, we can't, because, I mean, this election proves it. You know, Donald Trump had the largest vote in election history. The worst thing about it was that he was in second place, which means Joe Biden had the largest amount of votes. So 10 million people more. Yet we've got a group of people who believe in the big lie, voted against their own self-interest. We had a president who said it's going away. No, first he said there's no such thing as COVID. It's a Democratic ploy. It's the Democrats just trying to make me look bad. Okay, now people started catching it. Then he said it's going away. We've got 60 cases going on 0. Then he said, okay, to get rid of COVID, because now we're into thousands of Americans dying. He says, oh, well, what you can do is drink bleach and inject it into your body. It'll kill COVID, or inject ultraviolet light. Oh, not to mention hydrochloroquine and the other one, the horse and cattle dewormer. Yeah, exactly. So there are people who just continue to believe the big lie. Now, what's the next lie that they've been saying? That stuff that they used to say before. Oh, guns don't kill people. People kill people, but they're killing people with the guns. When are people going to start waking up and understanding that, you know, this cult of personalities that they tend to worship, that they call leaders, are leading them to their own death? And when are these leaders actually going to start waking up and decide that, you know what, we're going to do something right this time?
Well,
not because we're taking money. Go ahead.
I think when you say we've got to shoot them with votes, we antagonize them by our language. And we have to find a way to communicate with them without belittling them, with a way to, look, we're not going to convert everybody. Can we convert anybody? We've got to find a way, because if we can convert a few of them, maybe they'll start to convert each other and understand, wow, they were right about some of this stuff. Look, the COVID thing is very specific in that you can believe in COVID or you can not believe in it. And it's all well and good whether you believe in it or don't believe in it until you catch it. So if we have 330 million people in the country, 1 million people have died. So your odds were 1 in 333 that you would be the one that gets it and dies from it. Now, if you got it and survived it, then you go, oh, it was like the flu, or it was really bad, or whatever it was, but I'm alive, so I don't care. So now we have no mask mandates. Now we have the possibility of a new variant coming. Maybe, we don't know. We're not sure. No one seems to be, for sure. But I've been vaccinated 4 times. You've been vaccinated. That's a choice. You don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. 4 times, yes. You don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. You don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. I'm wearing my mask. I've been vaccinated. When I go into a public space, I still choose to wear my mask. You can make fun of me if you want, or go, why are you wearing a mask? You're not going to make me. No one asked you to wear a mask. You don't want to wear one? Then take your chances. If that's what you want to do, there's 1 million dead people. And they say of the 1 million dead people, 2/3 of them lived in the red states that were anti-mask, anti-vaccine. So twice the amount of people that were in places where they believed in masks and whatever. So That's up to those people. So at some point when you get it, and look, even when COVID was in its early stages and there were people that were anti-mask and going, and even when they got it and they're dying from it in the hospital, they go, I still wouldn't wear a mask. Well, you're going to be dead in a matter of hours. So that's your choice, but that's a pretty stupid statement to say, I still don't believe in COVID as you're dying from it. But we have to find a way to communicate with these people to go, I don't want to take away your guns. I'm a gun owner. I've been a gun owner my whole life. They're tucked away. I don't want to use them. I don't want to shoot them. I got them. God forbid I ever need them. But I don't want to take away your guns. I just want to take the ability for someone like this 18-year-old to go and buy one without a check, to be out there to go, just want to save you and your family. Because those kids in Texas is a red state. Most of those kids were probably the children of Republicans. Don't even know. Just a speculation. I have no idea. But, I haven't heard anybody talk to those parents. Do you think there should be gun laws? They're all going to do something. They're asking do something. But were you part of the set before it happened to you in your family and your child that was going, no, I have the right to have a gun?
This is what I get, Sandy. They're not going to change these gun laws until one or two things happen. Either some of these politicians and their families start getting caught up in some of these mass shootings, and God forbid that happens, really, because I not want to wish, will, or desire that for anybody. But until it gets close to home for them, they're not changing it. You see the senator from Connecticut, from Sandy Hook. You see how impassioned he was when he was talking to Congress. I mean, he was in tears. This keeps happening. What are we doing? Until it starts to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we're not doing the right thing. You said, what are we doing? We're not doing the right thing. When I look at Lauren Boebert, who sends out a Christmas card with her family, all with, multi-weapons in and around them, and the kids holding guns, I go, what are you, an idiot? Yes, she is. She's an idiot. She owns a place called Shooter's Bar. Will someone one day come and show her and go shoot up her bar? I hope so. I hope so. If you're going to go shoot up kids in the school, why not just go shoot up Shooter's Bar?
There you go.
And let her defend that one. Now, I know we have a lot of subjects to get to, and I want to ask you, because I'm very curious about this. A statement came out the other day that, and the original statement was 30 black staffers have walked out of the White House. And they said for reasons that they didn't have the opportunity to move up or advance. Then as you read it more, a lot of the staff was for the vice president, who happens to be black. And you go, well, let me see. If I work for the vice president, she has to be elected to that position. How far up can I move? I can't go sit in her chair. No one voted for me. I didn't run for office. Where can I go? Then as you read more of the story, you find out, oh, well, this one went to MSNBC. This one went to CNN. This one took a job in the whatever. And it's not that they all walked out in the last week. It's over since in a year and a half, 30 have come and gone. That's just life. But you're black. Are you in tune with this? Do you have an opinion on this? Do you have a thought on this? What are your feelings?
Of course. Let's look at it. There has always been a black-white dichotomy in the White House. You look from the simple points where there were slaves who actually built the White House, and they had now, as they progressed, they had slaves actually handling the care of the president and his staff in the White House. Yet there were other staff members like communications, secretary of this, that, the other, in the case of McBee, who have always remained completely white. There has never been an actual or an actual point of, moving or transcending or blending or seeing, white people doing more domestic work for the president and black people doing more administrative and executive. Yet,
well, wait a second.
But
Go ahead.
here's the thing. That's in every company, or just about every company goes through that or is experiencing that. Okay, so that's nothing new. The thing that got me was the initial misrepresentation. They made the statement like 30 of them just up and quit yesterday. And no, it's just been a course over the terms. And then you look at it in terms of one of the staffers and what they were saying is that there is no advancement. And that's true. It's just so far you can go, and you're only brought in through that administration. So if they're looking at being some of the permanent senior staffers, permanent White House staffers, then that ain't gonna happen because they have to go up through the ranks. Yet the prejudice part is that there have been black people who have been staffers of the White House who have never moved up to the senior level. Every time one white senior executive of the White House staff leaves their position, they bring in another white person rather than bringing someone up.
Give me an example of the position that you're talking about.
Okay. Let's look at executive chef. Let's look at houseman. Let's look at maintenance and management.
White or black, these people?
Well, the lower levels are black. The executive levels are white.
I'm not there. I don't know. I'm not intimately familiar, but I see our new press secretary is black.
Yes, but the press secretary is not a permanent position. With the next administration comes in the next press secretary. So and the press secretary that he appointed?
You're saying the people in the White House that are there full time.
Correct.
So if tomorrow there was a new president, that staff would still be there.
Correct. There is a core group of staff that works for the White House that will always remain there. They don't go out with the old administration.
I don't.
Housekeeping, maintenance, etc.
I don't know what to say about that. I know we have
and
a black,
housemen.
We have a black.
Well,
the first woman black Supreme Court justice. So it's hard for me to buy into this, and I'm not. I don't want to sound anything, I just want to understand it better. But if you're working for the Vice President of the United States who is black, and you go, I can't move up. I don't know what the position is. I don't know what. There isn't enough information out there that tell you. Seem to know more than I do about this. That says, oh, the executive chef was white, and the sous chef, the three sous chefs were black, and when the executive chef left, they didn't promote one of the sous chefs to executive chef.
Correct.
So to me, that would be wrong. But I would think you'd get your opportunity. But the fact that you got to the sous chef, the number 2 position. I mean, after the number 1 position, where do you go from there?
Sermonier, or private world, or private 5-star, like Michelin.
If you're a sous chef, you can go into private anything. You go to a restaurant chain, food company. If that's your choosing. Say, I worked at the White House. That has to be a pretty prestigious thing to be the sous chef, because the executive chef isn't there 100% of the time. Neither is the sous chef. So I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. Staffing at the White House is a complete privilege, and for a lot of them, it's the biggest honor that they will ever achieve in their professional career. So yeah, that's all well and fine, but it still has a level of oppression where they're not promoting or giving them a leg up. Nor is there anyone in the executive position to mentor the next level of African American. Now, yes, we do now have a African American woman on a Supreme Court justice, but how long? I mean, look, we've had in terms of women, we had white, Jewish, Hispanic, and then finally black woman. How long is the whole issue?
It took longer than it should have. It took longer than it should have. However, Judge Jackson was a clerk for Breyer, so she had her opportunity to get into the system, and eventually, through her intelligence and her integrity, her knowledge of the law, she moved up and became the first person. She became the Jackie Robinson at the Supreme Court level.
Yeah, and no, she more like the other one, not Jackie Robinson, but the other guy that went to the major leagues, black guy. He was old as all get out. I mean, her talents. She should have been a Supreme Court justice 10 years ago.
No, she's too young. She's too young to be a Supreme Court justice 10 years ago. She might have been intellectually, but they don't start until they're around 50. So she wasn't like 75 and they go, oh, we're going to take this 75-year-old woman. She should have been when she was 50. At 50, she's the right age.
But in terms of her record, education, and body of work and experience, no, she should have been there. She should have been there.
But she just was prior to this, she was in Washington, D.C. on the Court of Appeals. She was in the next highest job. True.
It did take her a long time to get up that ladder, but she got up the ladder. And that's the same thing that they're saying. How long? It's taking
Fine. Yeah. And if you're a Supreme Court justice, I think it should take you a long time to get up the ladder because you can go into the NBA at 19, but you're not going to be the coach. And when you're the Supreme Court justice, you're supposed to be the 9 most fair judges in the country, knowledgeable and fair. And then we run into the situation of Pinhead.
Really? You consider Kavanaugh to be fair?
I said supposed to be. I didn't say was. Okay. And what about who am I forgetting with his wife?
Clarence?
Thank you, Clarence Thomas. I mean, this is a guy that's been a Supreme Court justice for a long time, and he's doing everything wrong. He's setting back the court, black people. His wife is setting back what a wife is supposed to be or do or anything. It's dreadful. It's awful. And how does the other side not understand that? If it was reversed and it was Stephen Breyer doing that or one of the Democratic justices doing that, they would be outraged. Outraged. It would be a fire.
Well, speaking,
get rid of this person.
Yeah, yes. And, and here's the thing, Mr. I pulled myself up from my bootstraps, and which nobody tends to believe. His wife is now, the more they're digging into this January 6th, the more they're leading or blaming a lot of things on Jenny Thomas, spearheader, designer, and financer of the January 6th attack. And when that didn't...
Go ahead. No, yes.
No, you're right on point. If your husband, go ahead, finish that.
No, if your husband is the one who they're going to bring the case before, and he says, "I'm good with it. It's fine." You robbed the bank, but that was just my wife. It's okay. What's the next case, please? So, and finally, and we're going to talk about this stuff, and I know that the show goes, and we get all these topics, but finally, a court has stood up to a Republican. When the Florida Supreme Court turned down Ron DeSantis in his voting map, where he tried to ramrod his map to change the ability of the black electorate to vote and be represented in the state of Florida. And the Florida Supreme Court said, Ron, you don't get to do that. So that's just the first seed because we know he's going after Disney. And as soon as when the momentum's going in your favor, like we saw last night in the basketball game, the Golden State was doing great, and all of a sudden a couple of turnovers, and Golden State I've never seen them lose a game like that, just get blown out in the fourth quarter. That would have been one thing if Boston fought hard and came close, and at the end they got off a lucky shot, but I've never seen them just get run out of the building in the fourth quarter. And this is the start for Ron DeSantis of his coming to Jesus moment, where the Supreme Court said, no, you don't get to change the map. that your own Florida Congress said, gee, Ron, that's illegal. And he said, do it anyway. And do it anyway, which is what Clarence Thomas is doing. It's okay, Jenny. You go ahead and disenfranchise all the people that voted for Biden. The 80 million people, we don't give a shit about them. We only care about the 70 that voted for Trump. And you know what Trump has said to us all the time? And Trump in his lies tells us some truth. And when he tells us that the election was not fair and that it was rigged and that it was fixed, I tell you what, I believe that somehow Trump found a way to get, because he got 20 million votes more than he got the last election. And
Yes.
And I don't believe that there are 20 million votes. But because Biden got 80, the Democrats don't want to go looking on Trump's side and whatever he did. They go, we won. What do we care? But if they looked at it, I bet he didn't even get the amount of votes he got in 2016. And if I was voting
Yes,
right
keep
now,
in
I
mind.
would drop the mic.
Keep in mind, Trump won the Electoral College. He didn't win the popular vote.
Yes, of course he didn't win the popular vote.
So to a lot of Americans, he was never officially their president. The same thing with Bush versus Gore. He won the Electoral College. He didn't win the other one. And people were telling Al Gore, hang in there. You're going to win Florida. Just go for the recount and you're going to win, right? Al Gore said, no, I don't want to put a stain on our country with all of this craziness. I don't want it to be an S show or a circus. I'll concede for the good of the country. This blockhead, he goes in here and rigs 20 extra million votes and doesn't figure and figures it out wrong. If you're going to cheat at least where you can win.
But he thought 20 million would give him the big win. He had no idea Biden was going to kick his ass, or they pissed off so much of America that 80 million people would show up. He thought, okay, let's see. It was, I had 40-something, I had 46 million before. He says, if I get 70, I'll trounce him. And it'll look like the biggest victory of all time. And instead he got his ass kicked. So he's right about the big lie. The big lie was he didn't get 70 million votes. He lied. And he figured out a way to all the things he did in this goofball Mike Lindell, Mr. Pillow. Go to fucking sleep, Lindell, with all your bullshit, all your television appearances, all your things that you come off in places and say, oh, I'm going to show the evidence. You haven't shown us anything. I don't even know that you actually make a pillow.
Okay, well, yes, he does. In fact, we found out 2 years ago that Mike Lindell happened to be Trump's political advisor, who had carte blanche access in and out to the White House whenever he felt like it. So January 7th, Mike Lindell was in there delivering pillows, or the word to Trump.
And they probably
had little
chips in the pillow. They had little chips in the pillows. So when Trump would go to sleep, the little chip was going, you won the election. You won the election. We have all the votes you need. You won the election. This is my pillow. You won the election. You won the election.
Go to sleep. You're the real president. Shh, you're the real president. Go to sleep.
That's right.
Okay. On that light, Mike Lindell, we're taking a break. I'm with comedian extraordinaire Sandy Hackett, and we're going to discuss more issues of last week. See you in 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Your small business struggled through the pandemic to stay afloat. You need more exposure. Radio and printed ads are good for pet liners. Television commercials are overpriced. Social media ads start cheap, end up expensive. You need an ad team that can get you multimedia exposure. You need My TV. MyTV will develop a commercial tailored to your business. To get your maximum sales, contact sales@theratemytv.church. Your small business struggle.
Life has many twists and turns, and it can take you off track. Hackett Joe's Flow is here to help you dance through the twists and lean into the turns. From spiritual trauma-informed life coaching, to book publishing, to record producing, to credit empowerment, to amazing travel, we are here to change your whole life. Let us help you get your life back on track.
Okay, so I mean, we talked previously. I want to circle back to DeSantis. All right, now the Supreme Court handed him his first defeat. Okay,
I only
But
agreed
he-
to wait. I only agreed to circle back to DeSantis if we can run over him with a steamroller. Can we take a steamroller and roll over him?
well, first we got to get a budget that can support that, but I don't see a problem with that happening. But let's go.
Well, no, he cut out. He just did the Florida budget and took out $3.5 billion, including several things that were in there, like for the Tampa Bay Rays to have a new training facility and stuff like that. But they were in favor of gun control, so he
cut them out.
he cut them
Yes. So he's having this contest of who's got the biggest, with himself being the governor in every corporation. Disney disagreed with him and about this "don't say gay" policy, and he went after Disney, and even now going after the rights of Mickey Mouse. Tampa Bay disagreed with him, the Devil Rays, so he cut the $3 million out for their new training facility.
out. I think it was $35 million. Whatever.
35 million. Okay. Oh, 3.5. Oh, 35 million for their training facility.
Right.
Another group that disagreed with him, and he's going after them. He's making more enemies and digging such a deep hole for himself that he doesn't have any other recourse but to realign the districts so that the Republican Party can win and he can stay in power. He's made so many enemies that, right now, his election defeat is the only surety that you can bet on.
And yet, the electorate down there, the Hispanic electorate, believes in the big lie. They believe that DeSantis is working their best interest. Somehow, the Republicans managed to put garbage out there and get people to believe it. And we're just in this situation where I know you have a computer like I do. I open my news every day and I see headlines and I go, I don't know what to believe. I can't believe any of it. I don't know where truth is. I have to go digging. Every time I see something, I have to go digging so deep to find truth. I go, what am I doing? Where's Walter Cronkite when you need him? Here's the truth.
Yes, it's like there is no more. We've lost a level of ethics in the media. And one thing in journalism school that they talked about was ethics and research and fact finders. We've gotten more fact finders hired for the last 7 years than we've had in our country's history. People trying to find the truth. There used to be truth in media where, you know what? My father would not believe anything in the media until it came out of Walter Cronkite's mouth. I mean, that's how it was.
I
Yet
don't.
Now we've got misinformation and disinformation that, when I do the same thing that you do, I go on a fact-finding mission. It takes me an hour just to complete one story to find out what's really true about it.
So
Incredible.
you said
So,
about
congratulations.
What?
Oh, Mr. My Pillow, his new commercial where he's begging America to start buying his pillows again. He's done. He's done. He should be on his way to financial ruin. I don't think anybody with good common sense, oh no, there are a lot of people with bad judgment and still believe the big lie. And, all of the QAnon people, let them continue to buy his pillow. The rest of America, we should be working on actively bankrupting this guy.
But we should. But I'm sure that all the pillows he sold has that chip in there where he's talking to all the people, giving them the bullshit, saying, there's a big lie. There's a big lie. He's telling
I don't see how. The My Pillow is one of the most uncomfortable pillows I ever purchased. I was so mad I tried to send it in for a refund. They were like, no.
I'd never heard of it until all this. So I never saw it advertised. I've never seen anything. I haven't even heard of it. And so I'm surprised that this guy has any kind of whatever. But he's been in so many places. I'm coming with the evidence. I'm coming with the evidence. There's going to be a case. There's going to be, and he's never done anything anywhere. He's never showed us one page of evidence. He's hold up stuff and go, oh, look what I have. Look what I have. I have this. I have this, but there's nothing there. He never shows it to us. He just waves it around.
It's all of that QAnon BS. I mean, he was at that group that was waiting for Robert Kennedy Jr. to come back from the dead. I mean,
well, I was there too, but he owed me money, so it was a different reason. I just wanted to get my $40 back, but what the hell?
Pop, how you die and owe me $40? Okay, that reminds me of this old joke. Guy says his friend dies. They're at the funeral. Everybody's sad, and then as they're burying him, one guy starts wailing, "Oh, Morty, you're the best friend I ever had. I'm so sorry I never paid you. Here, I'm going to write you a check for everything I owe you." And he threw it in the grave with him.
Okay, you wanted to talk about the U.S. giving Ukraine rockets.
Oh, yes. Okay, so just then today, United States military package now going upwards of $50 billion to Ukraine. Now, the newest thing on the weapons are surface-to-air missiles, rockets, that have the capacity to land from the Ukraine border to hit Moscow. Yet Putin says he declares it an act of war because they're going to aim them at Russia. So, United States replied that they talked to the president of Ukraine, and he promised that he's not going to aim them at Russia, not at all.
Well, and again, I get my media in places where I go, I'm not sure what I'm listening to. I don't know what to believe, but they're saying these rockets they're talking about, first of all, they cannot reach Moscow. It's too far. They're good up to about 200 miles, which makes it very safe for the Ukrainians to fire off and get a target. I don't even know how you target something 200 miles away, but however you find it, you find it. But now there's a mini version of that that'll go somewhere like 6, 8, 10 miles away and fire multiple rockets. It's an MRL, multi-rocket launcher. So there's one that'll go 200 miles and send 8 or 10 rockets at a time, and there's one that'll go only 2 to 10 miles. And those are the ones supposedly we're selling them. But Russia also said, oh, by the way, we're just going to go in there and invade. We're not going to occupy. And you go, what kind of horse shit is that? Of course you're going to occupy. You're not giving anything back. And we're going to have to kick your ass. The Ukrainians are going to have to kick your ass out of there. And if Ukrainian and us saying to Ukrainians, don't fire these at Russia. And they go, are you kidding? They're all over your country, stomping on everything, blowing up your cities, blowing up your infrastructure, blowing up your museums, blowing up your schools, blowing up your hospitals. Oops, we fired 2,000 rockets over into Russia. How do you like it? I mean, this
bingo.
Is war.
This is war. Yeah, and the best thing,
and I don't know how you take that away. And I think you can say whatever you want, but when Israel got attacked, Israel went off and just said, we're not listening to anybody in the world. We don't care what you say. We've got to protect ourselves, or we're not going to be here. And we're going to drop bombs on you, and we're going to attack you, and we're going to attack you. We're going to take out your air defenses. We're going to take out your radar. We're going to take out this until we feel we're safe. And honestly, Ukraine's going to have to do that at some point. Otherwise, Russia's just going to keep coming, and take away as much land as they can, and Ukraine will disappear. And they've got to defend themselves. And at some point, they're going to have to get on the offense in the biggest way possible. So they've got to sit there for a while until they get a nice stockpile of weapons, because they don't want to just fire 6 or 10 rockets in there and go, oh, now we can't sell you anymore. No, we've sent over 2,000. We told you we wouldn't send them over there. But now that we've got 20,000 in storage, we can send them all over there to Russia.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got another 60,000 in neighboring NATO countries. They could just give them to you today, and we'll just backfill it.
Right.
Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left. Amazing that LeBron James has now become the first active billionaire playing in the NBA. And
yes.
Kudos to him. And I'm a Golden State fan, but then he came to the Lakers, and I rooted for him a couple of years ago. He's an incredible player. You hear all these arguments about, is he Jordan, is he not Jordan? You know, the generations are different. Jordan could have played in any generation, and so could LeBron. He's a physical specimen. He invests in himself, in his body, in his mind. He's an unbelievable player. He's an unbelievable athlete, and he has put hundreds of kids to school and built schools and taken his ability to do what he does and do what those white people in the White House say they couldn't do, which is move up the ladder. And he's moved into a position where he's helped a lot of people. So kudos to LeBron James. What a blessing that someone like him is out there, you know, able to make $1 billion. And this is his first billion. How long before it's his second and third and fourth? And he helps black people everywhere, helps young people everywhere, gets them into schools, gets them educated, and gets their chance for advancement accelerated. And this is a good thing. And I'm so happy for him and so proud of him. Even though many times I rooted against him, I still have to say he's an incredible athlete and an incredible competitor, and he deserves every bit of success he has.
He is an athlete and an incredible and very fierce competitor. And the best thing I like about it is that he also carries that off as being an incredible individual and human being. I mean, very caring man, very loving man. I mean, you're looking at athletes who have gotten into the media and spotlight and highlight, and the media is so close up there behind that they can't do anything or function well. He seems to be doing it very well, handling it very well. You don't hear a lot of craziness about LeBron James, which I love. But also, you know, the media also did a little spy thing at his son's basketball game, and he was talking with his son. And, I mean, it was one of the most beautiful father-son moments ever, you know, where he was telling him that, you know, you lose your temper, everybody do. I do. He says, but the best thing about being a man is having control. He said, now listen, you know, if people can get you mad, then they control you. And if you're going to be good out there on the court, you need to be able to control them. So go out there, be good, play with your friends. I mean, it was one of the most wonderful father and son moments ever. So it goes to show, I mean, and he didn't even know the camera was on him. It goes to show the decency of him. It's great to see, you know, athletes play at the top of their game, but it's even better to see them having morals and pass it on to their children.
And there was an agent years ago, and I don't know, I can't remember his name, but he signed Troy Aikman in the NFL, and he said it Lee Steinberg, and he said, when you sign with me, 10% of your salary goes to charity, and that's how he operated. And the NBA does this NBA Cares. They go out in the communities, they feed, they do holidays, they build courts. Kevin Durant and all these other athletes have built all kinds of, you know, and they've given back to they make ridiculous amounts of money, but they have given back. And all it will do is empower the future to so much of America's youth to have better places to play, not to do drugs, to be educated, to become our doctors, lawyers, attorneys, policemen, hopefully our representatives in Congress, and go, you know, LeBron gave me a chance to go to school, or Kevin Durant, or Kyrie Irving, or Kobe Bryant, or whoever it is, and then be a contributing member of society in a way that, maybe we're 50 years away from having a reasonable Congress that goes, we've got to ban assault weapons, and we've got to have weapons checks and health permits, or health checks or red flags or whatever, and just be sensible about these things and do the right things so that people can move on with their lives and we don't have these terrible travesties.
True. And on that note, thank you all for watching. That's our show for today. So we're going to be taking a hiatus. So we'll see you in the fall. So I'm Vincent Squire, on behalf of our production team, Chaz, stay. Where can people find you?
Me, sandyhackett.com. And I'm working up in Northern California. I forget the name of the place. I was going to tell you, I forgot, but doing some comedy up there. I'll be in Canada in the fall, but we'll be back in the fall before that. I'm going to be in Detroit, and I'm actually shooting a film on Sunday here in Los Angeles. I'm working on a film for a couple days, and I don't know, if COVID doesn't get me, I'll be here in the fall.
Great. All right. So let me know when you're going to be in New Jersey. I'll be looking forward to this.
I look forward to it. I grew up in New Jersey. I'm from Fort Lee, exit number 6, right by the bridge. Hey.
Right by the bridge. Yeah. Okay, great. Maybe we can go hang out in your neighborhood.
I don't even remember. I was a kid when I left.
Okay. So, all right. So thanks again, people. God's will. We'll see you all September. A lot of shows. But you can check us out on Facebook, Roku. I'll be checking in with Sandy from time to time, getting to produce a few videos and saying hi to everybody. Keep everybody fresh in your minds. So, if God's will, we'll be back. Peace.